Hey y'all, it's Melissa from The Little 4-That Kid, and welcome to my channel, or hopefully welcome back, because hopefully you've been watching all week. This has been my back to school week, and today is the fifth and final video in my back to school series this year, and I have been talking about all things back to school, or back to homeschool, I guess I should say. If you are new here, I am a mom to 3 kiddos and we're in our 3rd year homeschooling. This year I have a 2nd grader and 2 ninth graders. Yes. So today I am going to be showing you inside my planner and how I plan for the week. So if you have been watching, you have seen, I guess a week or 2 ago, I posted a video about how I plan my year, which is different from how I plan week to week. So if you're interested in seeing that, I will try to link that for you so that you can watch about how I plan the year if you'd like. And then today we're going to talk about my planner, look inside of it, talk about how I plan for each week. And so if you are interested in seeing that, stick around. First things first, if you have been watching all week, you know that I have been doing a giveaway all week, and so I will spare you all the details in today's video of what you have to do to enter. That'll be in the description box below, but today you are entering to win one of my very, very favorite oils, On Guard. So if you are a homeschooler or if you're not a homeschooler, this is still a valuable little bottle of goodness. So don't forget to check the description box below for all the details, and maybe you can win a bottle of On Guard. Okay, so for starters, if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you know that I do have a separate homeschool planner from a personal planner, first and foremost. So if you have seen my video on my personal planning, this is my personal planner, which I'm so in love with. I'm a planner-aholic, and I have tried every planner out there, and basically every year I would buy a different planner. Well, I guess that's not totally true. I used Erin Condren for a long time, her regular planner, I forget what it's called. And then I switched to Happy Planner, which I used for a really long time too, which I loved. But then when Erin Condren came out with this, I literally couldn't resist. I had to try it, and I've actually fallen in love with it. So all my personal planning, budget, meal planning, and like personal calendar type planning is all in here. And then I use a Happy Planner still for my homeschool planning. And then I bought on Teachers Pay Teachers a planner that I love, that I use most of her, like most of what you see in this planner is her stuff that I have either used exactly how she has it, or I've customized it to make it work for my needs. This is not sponsored by her at all. I just love her product, so I'll link her planner below. That's where I got these pages, most of them, not all of them, most of them, and so I'll link that below if you're interested in checking that out. So this is where all the homeschool goodness goes, and so I'm going to take you inside this planner and show you how I plan from week to week. Okay, so here is my planner. This is a hardcover Happy Planner, the big Happy Planner, and expander rings. These are metal rings, also not plastic, which I really love. So I have these little stickies. These are a Happy Planner product, and I do use them sometimes. And then So if you don't know me, my history, I am a music teacher. I was a music and theater teacher for 17 years in both public and private school system before I became a homeschooling mom, and I still actually teach music and theater at our co-op, which is why it says Miss Melissa's plan book and not Mom's, because even though technically the majority of this book is devoted to my homeschool things as a mom to my own 3 children, I also keep co-op plans in here as well, which we'll see in a second. And so I do take this with co-op, or I take this to co-op with me. And so if I ever leave it in a classroom or something, I want everybody to know, they would know immediately when they saw music notes and Miss Melissa that it's my planner, and they bring it back to me. So that's why my title page looks that way. Then I have a year at a glance calendar, so I can quickly see August through July. We always start our school year in August, so that's how I start. We have an attendance tracker here, and what I do is I highlight the days that we have school, and so then I know exactly how many days each month we've gone to school, and then at the end of the year I can easily tally it up. I just use a highlighter usually and highlight. This is our schedule, I think, for this year. So we kind of use a block schedule, and we do not go by times. That does not work for us. We go by blocks. And so we have blocks where certain things have to happen in that block time period. And then when those things are done, then we move on. So we wake up and we eat breakfast. That's our first block. And then the one time I count on is that at 9 a.m. we're going to have all our chores, wake up, routine, breakfast done, and we're going to start schooling at 9 a.m. every morning. Now, do we hit that target every morning? No, but we usually do, and if we don't, we're usually not far off from that. But that just gives us a starting goal, and then our ending time just depends on how much we have to do that day, how many interruptions we have, how efficient we work, all of those things. So we start out with our gather round, read aloud morning meeting time. And this is a time where all 3 of my children and I get together and do something together. Now, we don't use gather round. If you've watched my videos, we don't use gather round exclusively, but we do use it as a supplement because quite frankly, we love it. And I think it's really good for my kids, despite their big, huge, humongous age gap. I think it's really important for them, to do things together. So, so we do gather round, we do a read aloud. Oftentimes we will actually read during breakfast, but not always. And then we have our morning meeting, and our morning meeting just consists of, okay, let's look at our schedule, let's look what we have today, let's look what work we have today, etc. And we make sure that everybody's just on the same page and knows everything that they have to do that day. And then we move on to our third block of the day. During third block, I am working with Ford on all of his work that he needs me to do with him. So everything that I'm teaching him, we do in this time. That's generally language arts, math, that stuff. While we're doing our together work, my bigs are doing their independent work. So this is their literature, their reading. Miss Tara Homework, who is my oldest's language therapist, Civil Air Patrol for my oldest. He is working hard to rank up, and there are tests and things that are required for him to do in order to do that. So that requires study time. We treat that as part of school. They do Wordly Wise by themselves. They do some other things by themselves. So any kind of independent work that my bigs are having to get done, they do during this time while I'm working with Ford. Then when all of that gets done, typically it's lunchtime by then. We're hungry people, and we usually eat lunch kind of early, not gonna lie. So generally we're at lunchtime at that time, and also we all just sort of need a brain break by then. Then after lunch, we switch. And I work with the bigs on their stuff that we do together, which, yes, I do. We do it together, the three of us. If you want to know more about why and how, I'd love to share that with you in another video. So if you're just interested in knowing about that, comment below and we'll talk about it. But we do those subjects together. And then Ford is working on his independent work. So he has a Wordly Wise book that he does basically by himself. He has a handwriting book that he does by himself, and he writes in his journal by himself as well. Then once all of those things are done, our final block of the school day is our afternoon meeting, and we check work. So this is when I go through and I look to make sure that everything's been done. Sometimes I go ahead and grade it depending on what it is and if it's a quick grade or not. Anyway, so that is our daily schedule. I'll talk more about that in another video, more in depth, if you're interested. Okay, then this is a document that I created that is our homeschool year plan. And I talked all about this in another video, so if you're interested, I'm not going to go into details here, but if you're interested in why this looks the way it looks, I'll try to link that for you. So that's our homeschool year. Then this is something I also talked about in my yearly planning video that if you want to see what this is all about, this is another document I created. It works for my visual brain. It might look like nonsense to you, but it doesn't to me. And so yeah, that's that. This is another thing I talked about in my yearly videos. If you're interested in hearing about that, you'll have to check that out. But this is basically checklists per subject where I keep on paper, I keep track. I'm very much a paper girl. Even though I keep everything digitally as well, I'm very much a paper girl. So this is where I track. This is Logic. This is Masterbooks. So this Masterbooks came with this. So I just punched it. I have a punch that I can use, and I just punched it because it was 3-hole punched. And I put it in here, and I'll keep track of that. Then I was talking about Civil Air Patrol for my oldest, and this is his tracking page, front and back, for his rankings. If you're interested in knowing about Civil Air Patrol and how amazing it is and what it can do for your kid, especially if you have a kid that's interested in flying or the military, I'd love to do a video on that if you're interested. So if you want to know more about Civil Air Patrol, let me know in the comments below and I'll do it. Okay, so that's like all the beginning stuff. And then I hit my monthly taps. Okay, and yes, I made these myself with my Cricut. So at the beginning of every month, I have a monthly calendar, and I told y'all I'm a paper person and I'm a cute, like I like to do things cute. So I don't put every single thing on these calendars. Okay, I put every single thing on this one, right? This one gets everything, every appointment, everything I need to remember. This one only gets things that directly affect our school day in here. So you can see, like, even though my hair appointment right here, obviously my hair appointment has nothing to do with school, except that it's at 1 o'clock. And generally at 1 o'clock, we're not done with school yet. So I like to just know when I'm planning ahead for my week. I generally plan on Sundays. And I like to know on Sunday, I like to be able to look at my week and see what's going to affect school hours. And so that helps me plan accordingly. Again, here, an orthodontist appointment obviously has nothing to do with school, but it's at 10:30 in the morning. So obviously that is going to interrupt our school day because we have to be at the orthodontist at 10:30 in the morning. So that is my first step. And if you look ahead, I have already started working on September's calendar too. So as soon as I know something's going to happen for sure is happening, I put it on my monthly calendar. And so I'll just add to all of these as we add things as things get scheduled. And then that brings us to, and I have not completely started planning for our first week of school, which is actually, you'll be watching this video at the end of our first week, but I am filming this the week before, so we actually do start school next week. But I like to keep track of our field trips. That's just something I like to do for me. And so every month I have a field trip tracker where I write the date that we went and where did we go. We're a part of a really cool adventure group, so we go on some pretty cool adventures. Then I also every single week will print out of my busy week, and I'll write, this will be the week of August 2nd. And then this just gives me a place to write things if I really need to remember them. And so I'll have one of these printed every single week. And then here you have it. So this is what my weekly plan looks like. Now, as I said, I plan on Sundays. I plan every Sunday because, as I said on one of my other videos, we are very flexible in our homeschooling. I'm very OCD and scheduled and structured and all of that, but I also like to have flexibility so that if, like, you know, it's just a bad day or we don't get things done, or my little one who has a chronic illness, you know, if he's having a bad day or if I'm having a bad, you know, whatever, things happen, right? So this allows me to not have to go back and rewrite a bunch of plans. Like if I were to write a month's worth of plans ahead of time, like I used to do when I was teaching in traditional school, and like I do generally with my co-op plans, it would never work for us for homeschool because things happen fairly frequently where we don't get everything done. So on Sundays, I sit down and I make this out and I print this out. Okay, I plan for what we're going to do together as a family, and then I plan for each one of my children. Okay, and I put check boxes. So literally, as at the end of the day, when I told you we have that meeting at the end of the day, this is one of the things we pull out for that meeting, and we go down the list and we make sure that we check everything off and everything got finished how it was supposed to get finished. So we are going to try this year to do a gather round unit per quarter. So we're only doing 2 lessons a week on Monday and Wednesday mornings. We're doing gather round together, and then every day that we have school, we're doing a read aloud that corresponds with our gather round. So even though we're not doing another gather round lesson here, we're still going to read a chapter or maybe 2 in our read aloud. If you're interested in what we're reading aloud, let me know in the comments below, and I will do a video on that if you're interested. Now you will notice this week there's nothing for Friday. That is because we school 4 days a week. I've said this in another video, but we only school 4 days a week at home. Starting next month, which you probably saw on my September calendar, we go back, well, not next, it's almost next month. It's still July while I'm filming, but it's almost August. So starting next month, we go back to co-op, and our co-op days are on Thursdays. Okay, so when you get to my September plans, which obviously I don't have yet, but when you get to those, you'll see this same checklist on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll put a bar right here that says co-op on co-op days. So we still are only schooling 4 days a week, but it's really 5 because we go to co-op that day. So technically that is considered a school day too. And on Fridays, generally, we use Fridays to finish anything we haven't done. If we're not going to co-op, I mean, like for the month of August, for example, we don't have co-op at all. So Fridays will be a catch-up day. Anything we didn't finish, we'll finish on Friday. And a lot of times we'll have a field trip on Friday, which is fun. So it's technically still counted as a school day, but it's not a sit down and do our curriculum school day, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm not going to go into every detail of this. You can probably read it for yourself, but But I just go through, and so, like, for example, in language arts for Ford, we're going to do lesson 1 on Monday, lesson 2 on Tuesday, lesson 3 on Wednesday, and lesson 4 on Thursday. Now, assuming that we really do get all 4 lessons done by Friday that week, then the following Sunday when I start planning again, I'll flip here, and I'll see what my week is going to look like. Okay, and I'll be realistic. Like, thankfully this is not a co-op week because we have an appointment at 1, an appointment at 1:30, an appointment at 1. That's a lot of afternoon that's going to be not school. So if we were having co-op this week, I probably would only plan 3 days of school, and we'd use Friday to finish what we didn't finish here because there would just be no way. But because we don't have co-op, we will probably do like a regular school day these 2 days, and we'll probably split the last 2 days worth of assignments amongst these 3 days in order to be able to finish it. So that's the kind of thing I do when I'm planning. I look ahead, see what we've got going on, then I look here and make sure, okay, did we really check off all 4 of those lessons? And if we did, then when I start my next week plan on Monday, I'll start with lesson 5 for him in language arts. But if we didn't for some reason, like let's say, he has a really sick week and we only got 2 lessons done, then the next week I can start with lesson 3 on Monday, and I don't have to rewrite my plans because I planned already for the month and we didn't get it done. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, and so that's what I do for everything. I look at every single subject, what we actually accomplished versus what we didn't accomplish, and then I plan my next week based on that and our schedule here. Hopefully that makes sense. At the end of each week, there's a note page just in case I need to jot anything down. Like maybe we were doing a lesson and it jogged my memory about a book I want to check out from the library about that subject. Or maybe a field trip that I want to look into booking about that subject or whatever. I can make myself notes, anything that I just need to remember. Say it's Tuesday and I think, I want to make sure that I do this when I'm planning for next week, but I'm so forgetful. So I know on Sunday I'm going to forget, right, when I'm planning. So I just make a note of it on this page, and that's one more thing I check along with the calendar, what we got done last week, and any notes that I may have made for myself to make sure that I remember when I'm planning my next week. And then I will type this in the template on my computer, and I will print these 4 pages out again with the new week, and I'll punch them and pop them in here. And so every week I add. That's how I do it. And then when I get to the next month, same thing happens again. I have my monthly calendar, and then my field trip tracker, and then I'll start adding my plans in. And you can see, same thing every week. Okay, so that is my planning part of my planner. Okay, so that's how I plan my week, which is really the main thing that this video is about. But I was just going to show you really quickly the other things that are in this planner. So we are using Knotgrass history this year for both of my freshmen in high school, and it's a lot. So what I love about them is they have it really organized for you, and then when you go on their website, you can actually print out this very specific checklist of every single thing they have to do for each lesson, which I love. And so I printed out 2 of them. They're essentially the same. They are the same. They're the exact same because they're using the same curriculum. They're in the same grade. The difference is there is literature that goes along with this history course, so you can actually get 1 credit of history and 1 credit of literature and 1 credit of Bible by doing this 1 curriculum. My oldest, Brooks, is not doing the literature portion. He is only doing the history portion and the Bible portion. So on his checklist, because he's very visual like me, I went through and I crossed out all of the literature things so that he knows he does not have to do those. Whereas on hers, see if I can find the same page here, Unit 3, hers is not crossed out. She is going to read the assigned literature and do the assigned components, assignments for the literature component, because she is going to do that. He does different literature. And so you probably saw that in my curriculum update earlier this week about that, but he does different literature, so that's why his is crossed out. And sorry, my light just went off. And also I went through and I highlighted any quizzes or exams. Quizzes are in orange, exams are in yellow, so that they can look ahead and see those coming. And so I am going to print another copy for each of them to put in their planners, so they will have a copy of this and I will have a copy of it. So as they finish their assignments, they check off their list, and then in that afternoon meeting, they bring their stuff to me and I check off in my book. So they don't ever check off something being completed in my book. They check it off in their book. In that way, it keeps them accountable, but it also helps them learn how to keep track and do all that. And then the final thing that I have in this planner, which has nothing behind it at all, is a co-op tab. I have, like I said, we have about a month and a half before co-op starts back, so I have not started to prepare my lesson plans for co-op yet. That's probably not something I'll share on my channel unless you're just dying to see it, which I doubt you are. But if you do want to see my co-op plans, definitely mention that in the comments below, and I will share that with you if you're interested. But as I said, I have started it. I just haven't printed anything out officially to put in my planner yet. So anyway, there you have it. That is what's inside my planner, and that is how I plan for the week.